You have to have a focus and a vision, and then you've got to get everybody on board and get you there, right? And so when I say we double every year, I mean, we literally exactly doubled. We went like 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Like we literally just doubled exactly. And that's because every year I would say, guess what, guys, we're going to double this year. And then I got our people, our team, which was phenomenal. And they would just set out what we need to do to double. And we would do that. I think we actually limited ourselves. I think we could have maybe grown a lot faster. And it really comes down to the team. It comes down to the people that you're with. And, you know, it sounds cliche after a while, but you work with every single day, who are calling you on Saturdays and Sundays, who make you smile, who are able to sit down at the table and deal with the crap that comes a lot of painful work. And that team's everything.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we're going to talk about predictable success. What does it take to lead a company to predictable success? Well, our special guest today is Curtis Matsko. He is the CEO of Portland Leather Goods, and he is a fireball. He's got a lot of passion for what he does, and it shows in not only his explanation, but just the drive he is able to create with his team. And I think that passion, we didn't talk about it much today, but you'll sense it. And that's one reason why they're willing to follow him through all the quick changes, all of the things that happen and are required as the company continues to grow. One of the things I'm going to highlight for you today is toward the end of the conversation, he talks about the need for evolving as a company. The company that you are at 2 million is different at 4 million. It's different at 8 million. It's different at 16 million and many variations along that journey. And as they reach over 130 million, they've changed so many times, it's hard to keep track of it. But we talk about what it takes to truly evolve as a leader and as a company as you continue to create predictable success. So my name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. I work with a lot of companies that are looking to change their organization performance. They're looking to have more executive alignment. And we do all these things inside of the work that we do. But if you're curious about sort of the things that we do, I'd love to invite you to a special event. It's only available for those listening right now and to people that have been on the show before. So you'd actually be able to interact with some of the people that have been on the show before. And these are executive virtual conversations. If you'll go to CoreElevation/virtual conversations, you'll be able to see it right there on the homepage, but you can just go in there and see if there's a topic that resonates with you. We change them every month. And if you feel like you'd like to come, you just fill out the form. We'll get you signed up and you can communicate with other people that have been on the show before and other founders of Inc. 5000 companies. I ask you come in and really share with others and listen to others and be respectful. But if you're interested in these virtual conversations, just go to coreelevation.com and go to virtual conversations. My name is Gene. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you today. And here's our interview with Curtis. Hey, Curtis, how are you?
The world treats me well.
Well, I'm excited to talk with you today, to try to really look behind all the success you've had. But tell us about your company first, Portland Leather Goods.
We started as a kind of a bet. My girlfriend had a bad job. I said, quit your job. And she said, what are we going to do if I quit my job? And I'm like, trust me, I'm a genius with internet marketing. She didn't know that I literally, that was my past. Wrote one of the world's first internet marketing books back in 96. And she quit her job. And we went to her garage, started making little leather journals. And she said, are you sure this is going to work? And I said, we're going to create a $100 million company. And we'll do about 130 million this year. So we built that up in about 6-7 years.
That's a pretty incredible story. You had mentioned being an internet expert in 96, and I was around during this time. That, like most people, you were having to explain what a website was in 96.
Before 95, I was dating a young lady who was doing grad school at University of Missouri. University of Missouri at Columbia has the top #1 journalism school in the world. Columbia University in New York has #2. So her job was creating the world's first online daily newspaper. So she would go into the journalism school at like 2 a.m, take the AP wires and sit there and reformat them in HTML to put them online. And I'm like, I just sit up there because I'm a guy and she's a pretty girl. So I'd hang out with her late at night. I'm like, you know what? This internet thing, people should sell stuff on here. She's like, oh no, there's netiquette. You don't sell things. This is all that blah, 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 blah. And I said, you know what? I had a job at the time, quit my job. And I spent the next year and a half writing a book. Understanding Internet Commerce, came out with a book, set up a company at the time. And we had about 8,000 companies' websites at one point that we created their e-commerce websites and built it all up, sold it all for a bunch of money just before the big crash. And it all just went, just gone, just like it never existed.
Well, you've lived a very interesting life as well as I have. So I'm glad to have you on the podcast today, Curtis. You had talked about, the success of the company. I know you guys have made the Inc. list. You've doubled more, every year, right? You were talking about to get to where you are today. What do you think the key to success in keeping sustainable growth within your company is?
You have to have a focus and a vision, and then you've got to get everybody on board and get you there, right? And so when I say we double every year, I mean, we literally exactly doubled. We went like 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Like we literally just doubled exactly. And that's because every year I would say, guess what, guys, we're going to double this year. And then I got our people, our team, which was phenomenal. And they would just set out what we need to do to double. And we would do that. I think we actually limited ourselves. I think we could have maybe grown a lot faster. And it really comes down to the team. It comes down to the people that you're with. It sounds cliche after a while, but you work with every single day, who are calling you on Saturdays and Sundays, who make you smile, who are able to sit down at the table and deal with the crap that comes, a lot of painful work. And that team's everything.
I know you had said earlier before we hit the record on how important team was and that you hire the best. A lot of people may think, it'd be so much easier if I could hire the best. Do you have any kind of ways to attract and to hire the best people for any position across the company?
The first thing you said here was be yourself, and that I don't have trouble doing that. So that's number one. I used to write, got our first employees by writing ads on Craigslist. And we would literally say to people, write a page or two of why we should even talk to you. And I would say, we are fun and we are crazy and you want to be part of this team. And you would, first of all, find out that people who took the time to write something about themselves and tell more about themselves than a boring resume, you could get better people to the interview. They thought it was going to be fun. Then when they come in, you say, this is going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. We are going to create something unlike anybody else. And then I look for people qualities, not experience. The gentleman who runs our marketing, his name is Maverick. Okay. This guy, he was a photographer before he came and interviewed with me. He was like 23 years of age. Okay. He was homeschooled, never went to college. He actually was homeschooled with his brother, and his brother was smarter than him, right? So he had every chip on his shoulder you could possibly have. He now runs a marketing budget of next year of $50 million. And he's brilliant. There are people from all over the world. If you meet this guy and you talk to them, you'll say, what the hell? I want to hire you for my e-commerce. And he's like, no, I'm on the ride. Curtis trusts me with this, and we're growing this thing. But no one would have spotted that. And I spotted it in a day, and I just kept giving him more and more. He had that drive. He just had that vision. He had the conceptualization of putting things, and he was unafraid to take risks. And if you're in marketing, you got to be a little cocky. You got to really believe in yourself. Can you spot that person? Can you spot the person who truly is decent and honest, but also has a few cracks in them that make them stronger, that make them want to go on and do something in life? We all have that. I think all truly, really successful people have the breaks. They have some problems that happen in there. My problem with me, I lived a great life. I was the youngest of 4 boys, and my brothers were bigger, stronger, and dumber than me. And it just pissed me off. And I was always competing on everything. I had to show them I was better. And even when they're gone and they're not around anymore, that doesn't matter. That doesn't go away. The fact that I will outcompete you on anything. I look for those type of people. People are looking to prove something. But deep down, they better be good people, and they better be honest.
Now, Curtis was talking about hiring for people qualities, not based on their resume, the things that they've done before in their experience. I really believe that we need to pay attention to this, because a lot of people will say this, but they don't really have an understanding of why it's necessary. But they'll say that you should hire for culture fit, and everything else will kind of follow. Well, culture fit really ties to is, what are the personal traits of that person? How do they see the world? How do they see themselves? If this person is able to be resilient in the face of challenges, and you're able to pull that out and assess that that's who they really are, and the role requires them to be resilient, then it's a good match. But if that person's never been resilient, they've never really been demonstrated and tested, then you're probably going to have struggle with that, and they're probably going to fail miserably because their personal traits don't match the role at which you need them in. And every role is a little bit different, but there's some things that are universal. So be looking for your personal traits as you expand your team and hire the next person. Back to Curtis. Curtis, we've been talking about what does it take to really get a company to grow at the predictable pace that you guys have been growing. And you talked about vision. And I'm curious, do you have any like set rituals on how you look at vision? How long is it? When do you update it?
And they said, Curtis, that's not what you told us last week. And I'm like, guys, things have changed. It's been 5 days. I needed new data. And now that I want to, when we interview people, we always say, do you like change? Now, first of all, everyone says yes. Then I say, bullshit, you don't really like change. We are going to shock you. We will be a completely different company next year. And you've got to see the people who really love that, because I will change on a dime. This isn't Soviet communism. You don't make 10-year and 20-year agricultural plans and then lie when you don't meet your goals. We do things minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. All of my top people, all of them, I talk to sometimes 7 days a week. I'm on WhatsApp. We all use WhatsApp. I'm actually, my phone rings 7 days a week up to midnight with someone who just says, I've got an idea. I had a thought. I was reading a book. What do you think about this?
When you're talking about changing so quickly, I see that as a good thing, but you can also change too much. How do you know when the right amount of change is necessary versus just keep going the direction at which you've already set out direction?
Oh, I don't know that. That's why I have a couple people on my sides of me who believe everything I do is wrong, who always try to corral me, right? I have Anna over here and Adriana over here, right? And there's two women who are brilliant and they're wonderful and they're more conservative than me. And so I view them, probably 5 different people have come up with this metaphor individually. Like, it's not just like I said it and they repeated it. They said it's like little kids bowling, where they take the bumpers and they pull them out. And so you throw the ball and it still bounces. They are my bumpers. So I will have the energy and I'll have this idea and we'll start going this way. And they'll go, well, hold on, that's good, but wait. And they'll just kind of keep me going toward that end goal, because I don't have that capacity, because I am always changing. But there you go. How do you put that? People around you that understand you understand them, and you know that together you're better.
And I imagine without those bumpers, the people that are guiding you,
oh, I'm a mess.
You would be in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. No, it's proven by my history, an absolute fact, right? But I am one of those unique, that's going to be me, and that's who it is. And they love that about me, and I love who they are, right? Now, when I was younger, in those first internet days we talked about, it was probably too much, okay? It was still a little too crazy, and I played into the young crazy a little too much. Now I am a little more mature. I am a little bit, I'm in my mental 30s rather than my mental teens, I guess, now. But it's that ability for me to see things other people aren't seeing, them the ability to say, that's great, we'll go on this ride, but they're going to guide it. I haven't paid a bill in 20 years. I don't have access. I own all my companies 100%. I don't have access to my own bank accounts. And I know that's good, but because I have amazing people who take care of this. And I know there's people out there going, oh, my bad people in my life. I've had that. I'm not at that stage right now. I've got I just got the best, right? They take better care of me and my money than I take care of me.
Curtis, I want to switch gears on you, because going back to what you talked about earlier about, creating the predictable success that you have, you talked about vision and you talked about alignment. I think everyone listening to this would love to have a deeper sense of alignment with their executive team and even the other leaders across the company. What are your keys to getting alignment for the new projects and the change that you undoubtedly drive every week?
Yeah, every day, every year. Deep down, I'm a salesman. I didn't know that. I was an academic. I have 9 college degrees. And my first job as a salesman, I lasted 3 days and the guy fired me. Said, you're too intellectual. You'll never do this. You're the worst, right? But I truly believe everything I say. And so when I say we're going to go to here, I naturally have that energy to say what that is. And the alignment is they're going to question it. I surround myself with smart people who are opinionated, right? So they're not just going to jump on board and say, that sounds good. They're going to say, what about this? And I'm not going to get off course because of what they said. I'm going to bring us around and we're going to go on that trip together. I'm also somebody who, this is probably one of my top 5 gifts. I will believe in something till the second somebody says something better. I will say, this is it, this is it, this is it. And they will say something different. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm wrong. Your idea is better. Let's go with that. I am 100% changeable. My perception is law. And I will say it with power. So people like that. They like the confidence that I have, right? But they also know that if they say something really good, I will say, I am wrong. Let's go with yours. So if we all get together and they say good, I'll take good parts of it. By the time we hash this out, we're on board. Some people are afraid of the meetings with me because I say things. I told you about Maverick earlier. People will walk by my office, it's this big glass office, and you can see in, and the walls are shaking, and we're telling each other our own opinions. And people are like, they're fighting. And we're like, no, we weren't. We were just both bringing out our opinions. But we both know, number one, that if the other person says something smarter, we're going to go along with it. Of course, we're deep down want to be successful. So why not take the best idea? I don't care if the best idea is mine. I literally don't care. Now, sometimes it takes a day. Somebody will say something and I'll be against it. And then that night I'll be just thinking and I can't sleep. And the next morning I'll bring them in and say, shit, it just took me a while. I just had to put the pieces together. I was reacting. I think you're right. Let's go with that. And I'm talking big $1 million, $10 million decisions I will make on it because somebody brought something up in a meeting. Maybe it's a one-liner. Maybe they argued for it. Maybe they gave me a look. And that's part of the gift that you know about being a leader. Sometimes it's the quiet person who just gave you a look and you're like, there's more to that. What was that? I need to talk to them. What were they saying by not saying something? It's the gift that you learn by you doing 1,000 of these podcasts and running your own businesses that you learn when you're communicating with people. This person has it. I want to listen to their idea. They're worth that. This person, I should dismiss that and I should stick strong with what I believe.
Now, Curtis has been talking about team alignment. I'm going to share with you some of the insights I have with my clients about team alignment. First of all, to get someone aligned, you're going to have regular one-on-one conversations to tune into that person individually. You got to build the relationship, build trust. And then when things get hard and they're out of alignment, it's much easier. You got to have the right kind of team conversations where people are discussing openly, they're transparent, and they really are able to talk about the things honestly, for reals. And you also want to have the right accountability across your business. You want to also have tough conversations when needed. If you take any of these one out, you're going to struggle with the terms that, to find alignment across the team. But if you have tough conversations on a regular basis, when people are out of alignment, before it gets too far down the path, you're much more likely to bring it back into effect. And that is what we're doing here. Back to Curtis. Curtis, we're talking about predictable growth. And
yes.
We're going through a lot of the things that really come into play here. I'm really curious, is there something about leadership that has changed over time? Something you used to believe, but now you see it differently in terms of leadership and people at your company?
One of my dear employees said to me last year, and then a couple other people said it. They said, the biggest mistakes we've made in this company are when you weren't you and you believed something, but you let the group, not the idea, the group lead you in the wrong direction. Okay. So if you're a true leader, you have to have uncomfortable conversations and you have to make uncomfortable decisions. I used to try to get everybody on board to say yes before we would move to something. Now, I don't try to take months and months or years. I say, guys, after the decision's made, this is the way that we're going to go. And we all do that together. And there can be people against it, but now I have a track record and they believe in me enough that they believe that. I'm making decisions faster. Whether everyone's on board or not, you have to. Because the company's too big. There's too much at stake for me to say yes, but if those two people, if I spend 2 more weeks trying to convince them, they'll be on board. They're not going to be on board until we make the decision and I prove that that's either right or wrong. And then they can say, I told you so, it doesn't matter, but you have to make the decision. Vision and leadership, yeah, whatever. Make the decision and move forward. Go into the unknown. You're never going to know the unknown. That's why it's called the unknown. You got to move forward and go find out what it is.
Well, you've been giving us a lot to think about as we continue to try to grow our businesses and work with our team. Any parting words that you feel like we haven't discussed today about creating predictable success?
I'm just going to say, I'm not going to be generic on it. I'm going to give somebody, and maybe somebody can understand this one. And if one person gets it, it's worthwhile. To double, you don't double everything that you do. Okay. You can't work off of where you're coming from. You have to think 3 years ahead. You can't just do more of the same thing. A $2 million company is not a $4 million company. A $4 million company is not an 8. And I'm going to tell you, by the time you get 16 million to 32 million, that is a completely different company you are making. So you can't make the same. What got you from 1 to 2 won't get you from 8 to 16. What got you to 64 million is not going to get us to 200 million next year, right? Does that make sense? You have to think bigger. You have to make bigger changes, and you have to let go of the things that may hold you back. More of what you need up here, less of what you did in the past. The past can lead you astray.
I love that that's a good place for us to end today, because I'm in my executive coaching clients, I see them trying to do the same thing that they used to do, and it just doesn't work anymore. And we all know that that doesn't work, but they keep trying, and they're like, well, they haven't realized that you've got to continuously change. Not only the culture changes, but also you as a leader changes.
Where they saw their
time.
success, where they saw what they thought was success, they hold on to that too dearly.
Yeah.
And when I started my little leather company, there were 5 companies out there that I looked at that I thought were kind of in the same space. And I admired them. They were much bigger and much better than we were. Okay. 4 of those companies, one of them another one went bankrupt last week. 4 bankrupt, and the other one is in name only, is out there. And it's so far in debt, they'll never make it, right? If I had just duplicated what they would do, and I've actually talked to most of their CEOs as they've asked for help, and their problem was they were holding on to what got them successful 8 years ago, rather than what's going to make them successful in 5. They're like, yes, but this has always worked. Too late. We're in a different world, man. 2015, listen to music from 2015. Watch a fashion show from 2015. You will be shocked. There's a show called Project Runway, and there was this guy who applied. He won Project Runway twice. He won it, and then he was like one of the guys. And I went back to look at his stuff. It was only 4 years old, but it seemed like another decade. It was so crazy. Business is the same way. Nothing is the same as it was 4 years ago or 6 years ago or last year. This year is different. Money's not free anymore, everybody. You got to run your company differently.
That's a good place to end. Curtis, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. No, thank you.
Wow. Curtis is a pistol. I love the energy and the passion that he has for his company, his team, and really being the leader that this company needed. They need that visionary leader. I'm sure you picked up on some of the things he talked about. He doesn't do everything. He has those bumpers in place. He has people around him that are the best in the world at what they do. And they really are focused on growing and evolving every day, every week, every month, every year in this journey that they're on to be $1 billion company. I really appreciate you leaning into this message today. If there's anything we can do for you, if you're curious about how we work and serve people, make sure you go to coreelevation.com. That's our core business site. And if you want more information about this show, just go to genehammett.com and you can find out that. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.